We're already a third of the way through 2026, believe it or not. And in that time, we've had some really good games that have come out. And I thought today we'd talk about some of my favorites. Now, on this list, because I focus on indie games and the less known indie games, there's probably some things in here you'll find that you have not heard of before. But, well, I will introduce you to them today. So let's start off with one that's probably a little better known, and that is Going Medieval, which hit 1.0 here back in March by Foxy Voxel. This is a medieval settlement builder. Think of like RimWorld, but medieval. And in all of that, you're building yourself a castle or a keep or underground or whatever, and all of your citizens are specialized in various things. Of course, there are raids that come from outside, whether it be bandits or folks with trebuchets that are coming to knock down your castle. My favorite playthrough in this, whenever it was when I built a big tower, and the trebuchets came a-knocking, and it all came crumbling down. Good stuff. It hit 1.0 here in March, and it'll probably go on my favorites of the year list when we get there. Next up, we got Banquet for Fools. This one's a little more unknown. Came out here in March by Hannah and Joseph Games. This is like if you were to take something like an old RPG, an old CRPG, like Neverwinter Nights, Baldur's Gate, or even Dungeon Siege, and kind of redo that in this weird claymation, stop animation style, art style. But in this open world setting, you grab your party and you traverse in this fantasy CRPG across the big open lands. And it came out here in March of this year. And if you're into those kinds of like tactical RPGs, but a little bit hack and slash, then you will probably enjoy this one. Next up, we're going to space. This is Vanguard Galaxy, a relaxing space exploration game. A weird one, but a really fun one. This is a game that can be played a couple different ways. You can play it actively as a spaceship, top down, run around, mine asteroids, fight and salvage your way through this procedurally generated galaxy, or you can play it in idle mode and just sort of like stick it at the bottom of your screen and kind of let your ship mine away, kind of like how I used to play EVE Online. You sit yourself in an asteroid belt and Alt-Tab and go do something else as your ship is mining that Veldspar. It's kind of like that, just a top-down thing. You can run the market, you can go to different stations and buy and sell. Of course, there's pirates and things you can deal with. But this one came out here at the end of last year, back in October, by Bat Roost Games, and it's still in early access. But certainly an interesting one if you're into that EVE Online space sandbox stuff. Legends of the Round Table is next on the list. This is a King Arthur legend RPG, a very unique and incredible looking RPG. The art style is fantastic. It's got that medieval art style, and the voice acting is so good on this. If I ever have a reason to have a voice actor for anything, I'm going to look this voice actor up and make sure and get them, because she's like really good, and it makes the game that much better. Shows how important voice acting can be in a game. Voice acting and art style, all in this. I haven't talked about the game yet. In this, basically a CRPG, you are Arthur, you're the knights, you're of the Round Table, you send them off on different quests. Each knight is good at different things, and you kind of run through this sort of storybook RPG, completing quests, of course, and helping out the villagers in this chivalrous way. But it also has like a full-on combat system to it as well, whether you're jousting knights or sending armies out to fight. This one came out here on March 31st of this year by Artifice Studio. Of course, there are links down below. I've played all these, obviously, and there's links to the Steam pages in the description, and in the comments, I'll have links to the videos of these games that I have played, if you want to see more of them, because this is kind of a quick overview of all these games. Next up, we're going to Sintopia. I like God games, and you'll see that here today in this list that we're doing. But Sintopia, it's two games in one. You're not only just dealing with the above ground stuff, the overworld things, as you are a god in a sort of black and white, big floating hand style. They mostly go around about their business, building up their town, building up the kingdom, and fighting the bandits and whatever else is out there in the world, collecting sins, and that's where the second part of the game comes in, because when they die, they go to hell, the underworld, and in the underworld, you build that up in this sort of conveyor belt system of managing the people's sins, relieving their sins to give you cash in order to build up your world, and once they're done fixing their sins down in hell, then they go back up to the overworld, they live their life again, and then they die again. You may help them die if you want to get them down there to earn profit as they are back down in the underworld. And so you're kind of dealing with both sides of the game as you're playing this one. A very interesting idea in the God game genre by Pyrrhonites, and it came out here in April of this year in full release. Next up, we got Microcivilization, a incremental clicker strategy. Now, I wouldn't call myself an incremental game, certainly not a clicker game fan, but this one has me hooked. If you were to take a civilization building game, like a 4X style game, but focus it all on one city, starting in the caveman times, and slowly working your way up into gathering resources, building in population, and managing all the buildings of that town, and then working your way through the ages, all the way up into, I think they've got like modern tech in there now. But all solely focus on this one town. You can go outside the world or outside the city zone and collect resources and do quest things, deal with the neighbors or mammoths, whatever they may be. But it's all in this like clicker game style, but it's not like a normal clicker game, and I think that's why I like it so much. But it came out back here in January in 1.0, and if you have any interest in like city strategy games, I think this is probably a good pick. Menace is up next. You are leading a strike force, a group of mercenaries in a turn-based tactical RPG. You got a bunch of squads in this Battle Brothers. This is made by the developers of Battle Brothers, and if you can imagine the Battle Brothers devs making a game XCOM-like, this is what you get. You can manage your base in your flying ship, visit other planets, and plant down, and most of the game takes place in these turn-based tactical battles. Bring out your mechs, your tanks, whatever, your squads, equip them up, and fight off aliens or bandits or whatever else is out there in each of these squads, or in each of these missions. This is by Overhype Studios, published by Hooded Horse. We'll see their name a couple times today, and came out here in February of this year. Veterum is a little more unknown, a turn-based tactical strategy. It's just a classic turn-based fantasy strategy game. You equip up your army, a good-sized army on this one. Like you can have a good assortment to like 20 folks or something like that in your army, and set out in this turn-based tactical style from point to point. It has an open world, like a point crawl system as far as the overworld goes, but most of the game takes place in these turn-based tactical battles. And if you're like Battle for Wesnoth, if you like that kind of a thing, then this would be one that you probably like, where you equip your folks up, you level them up, and go and fight monsters and other bandits and things. But this came out back in November of last year by Krasleen Games, and is in early access. Timberborn, been in development for a long time, and it hit 1.0 this year in March. You're a bunch of beavers, and you're building a city. And with that, you are damming up the rivers and redirecting waterways and conveyor belts and all that goes along with what you would think with a beaver-run city. Lumberpunk is the term that they made for this one, the sandbox city builder. By Mechanistry, came out here full release back in March. And if you enjoy city builders or any sort of terraforming style of colony sims, then this is one that you will probably like. Now, let's say you're thinking, oh, that sounds cool, but I don't like beavers. I like rats. Well, that's what you got Whiskerwood for. Whiskerwood is very, very similar to Timberborn, except it's rats. It's a different setting. Rather than, of course, doing a lot of terraforming, which you can do a little bit of that, you are set in this sort of like colonial times. You're the rats. You are being oppressed by the cats, and you gotta sort of pay your taxes with the cats. I don't know. I'm assuming the plans are eventually. This is early access. Just came out early access at the end of last year. I don't know if there's plans of sort of like revolution kind of things. I hope there is, because I think that would be an very interesting thing. But yeah, it's a town of rats building a city, keeping the angry cats happy. Esoteric Ebb is one that's probably one of the most popular ones that I've got here on the list today. It is a single-player CRPG in this tabletop style thing. Think Disco Elysium, but in fantasy D&D style, where you run around and sort of complete a bunch of adventures and quests. And Disco Elysium gets thrown around comparing this one. When I played it, the first thing that came to mind was Monkey Island. Monkey Island with dice rolls in a fantasy setting. It's got that humor to it. It's got a very open but like complete puzzles feel to it. Complete this section of puzzles before you move on to this section of puzzles, that kind of a thing. It's a lot of fun though. It's great if you enjoy that kind of humor and this sort of single player tabletop adventure thing. Then you will certainly like this one. This is by Christopher Beauregard and Raw Fury. Came out back in March. Is it possible we got a good Star Trek game? I think maybe we did. Star Trek Voyager Across the Unknown is a survival strategy game where you are managing Voyager. You're lost in the Delta Quadrant. Starts out with that, and you manage each of the missions. A lot of these missions, actually all these missions, come from the show, and how you deal with them will change how the game plays. When I was playing, Tuvok died in like one of the very first missions, and so Tuvok was just gone. And so I had some rando back there on tactical, but it has this very open feeling to it. You're managing your crew as a base, and then of course moving from point to point, completing each mission, each episode essentially, and then you go through the next. And as far as Star Trek games go, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope to see more of them. Give me a DS9 one, please. Still in space today. Sector Space is up next. Came out at the end of last year. This is another top-down, open-world space game. A very slow, like laid-back, kind of a procedurally generated galaxy. You can go mine some things, calm. Again, I'm going to mention EVE Online again. If you don't know EVE Online, I apologize for comparing it so much. But this sandbox space game, you can go out, mine some asteroids, collect some resources, go buy some star bases, sell that stuff off, make some cash, eventually get yourself a fleet, and run into some combat. You can fight a bunch of pirates that are out there as well. And, just build your spaceship up, build your fleet up, do some exploring. It's a good old space sandbox that came out at the end of last year by Robin M. Farrell. That's the list of my favorites. And these last few games I've got here, they are ones that I'm optimistic for. I'm cautiously optimistic for. They're not out yet, or they are out and they need some work. But they may be fantastic games. It may just take a little time to get there. And we'll start with Elemental Reforged. This one came out back in March of this year. It's that 4X fantasy civilization-esque turn-based strategy game. You go and you build up your fantasy kingdom in this turn-based style. Each city has different resources. You build buildings to upgrade each city. And it's mostly focused around hiring heroes, which are led by armies. And those armies move across the map, attacking goblin camps or other fantasy folks. If you're familiar with like the Fallen Enchantress series, it's the same thing. It's just the new version of that by Stardock here. Now, the reason it has an asterisk by it, and it's not in the favorites list, it's in the maybe favorites list, is because it's pretty buggy. If I believe from what I've seen from Stardock, they intend to stick with it and keep on, developing it. And as long as they keep on developing it and fix the bugs and keep it smooth and keep it developed, then I think this will be a fantastic 4X strategy game. But put an asterisk in there. The next asterisk goes by Masters of Albion. This is by Peter Molyneux, who you may know from games like Fable or Black and White or any of those Bullfrog games. Yeah, he made all kinds of really good stuff, and especially God games. And this is the new one from him and his team at 22 Cans, which is a God game. Think of Black and White mixed within the Fable world. You're a floating hand, and you can kind of manipulate the world and possess people and try to play a God game here. It's got a weird start and some mixed reviews to it. It's got a very slow start. I think maybe that's what some of the mixed reviews are about. Once you get into the game, then you can kind of start seeing what the game is and what it's going to be. It's in early access right now. Then it may be a fantastic game. It's just going to take some time to get there. If you're willing to wait, then it might be worth getting. But if you want to wait and make sure that it gets fully developed, then that is completely understandable. But it's a God game, and you are slowly building up and taking over the land, managing your minions and your multiple towns, and also creating sandwiches for some reason. But it's good that you're using to create resources. It's weird. It's quirky. It's a God game. I'm always here for God games. I'm hoping it develops and turns into something that they say it will turn into. Next up, we're going to Spaceslog. Came out here in April of this year, very recently. is it's a spaceship manager. Think RimWorld in space, but you're managing a spaceship, and this spaceship is collecting resources, collecting asteroids to build up that ship, and then moving across the galaxy into the next spot. If you remember Starship Theory, which came out, a decade ago, but then got abandoned, it's basically taking that as its inspiration and then moving on from there. Because eventually we're supposed to be able to have like away teams and visiting planets, and we can already visit other ships. It potentially will be there, and I hope it gets there. Right now it's in the beginnings of development, and you can really only do really a lot of the early game stuff, like fixing up your ship and getting it space worthy and flying around a little bit. But once they get in like away teams and stuff like that, then yeah, I will certainly be all over this one. But it just came out here in April, and it is developing along. It might take some time, but it may get to something fantastic. Demiurgos is a demo that is out there on Steam. Hey, guess what? It's a god game. Another strategic god game. This one is you are one god versus a bunch of other gods out in the world, and you're trying to manage your followers. Each follower in this like colony sim style, you're going to manage each little town, and you're trying to grow your followers, your civilization as well, kind of combined into one, and also throw fireballs and build land bridges and all the things that go with god powers. But it is a god game about keeping your followers happy in this like not prehistoric but Bronze Age era of thing by Tlon Industries, and it is in demo form right now. The demo is on Steam, not yet, but you can check out the demo, which gives you a little taste of the game. Darkhaven is next up, which is an ARPG by the original creators, many of the original creators of Diablo 1 and Diablo 2. And those Diablo creators, they know how to make an action RPG, and that is what this is. Hacking, slashing, fantasy style, fireballs, all that good stuff in this open, procedurally generated world. Now, the thing that's different about this one, and this is sort of, I guess, the direction they're trying to focus this one, is the completely, like, destructible terrain, which is weird, but it's also potentially fantastic. So you're going into a dungeon, and you can walk your way around through a door and into the next room, or you can just take out your pickaxe and just chop your way into it. Or maybe there's like a big pool of lava, and there's some goblins standing underneath the lava, and you just knock that wall down, and then the lava goes and kills all the goblins and all your loot. But it's still kind of a cool idea, and I'm very interested in seeing where this goes after I played a demo of it or an alpha something. I'm very interested to see where it goes once it is fully out, especially when multiplayer starts happening with this. The whole world is just going to be flat. But I'm ready to see it. And last on the list is Underkeep. In that sort of Might and Magic and Baldur's Gate wizardry style, this sort of first person, grab yourself a party, an adventuring party, and head off into the dungeons with incredible pixel art is what this one is. An RPG dungeon crawler with tactical turn-based combat by Rake and Grass. Rake and Grass has been around forever, making games for decades, and each of theirs, I enjoy a lot of their games, so I'm very optimistic about this one. And I love a good old-timey dungeon crawl, and the pixel art. Look at it. It's good stuff. Anyway, there's Underkeep. It came out in February. Well, the demo came out in February. It's not out yet, but the demo is here, and it's still here on Steam, and you can check out the demo, which is like, 30 minutes or so, but still gives you a good taste of what the game might be. But there's my list of my favorites so far this year. If there's any that I missed that you found that I haven't seen yet, please let me know. Put them in the comments. I'm eager to hear them. If you want to leave a link, then you can go to my Discord and put links in there. I have a whole channel for games that you have found that you want to talk about, and that may be a good place for it as well. But YouTube appreciates when you put comments in here, so put a comment in here too. But there's my list of my favorite games so far this year. If you like this sort of thing, let me know. I'm hesitant whether I want to do many of these. I always do this once a year as my favorite games of the year, and I'm not sure I want to do this a lot, but we'll see. We're testing the waters here to see how a seasonal one of these may go over. But let me know how you feel, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.